Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Baki Sekhale and we are back with yet another true crime case. Let's dive right into it. Now today we'll be discussing the case of Naledi Lethoba, who was born on the 20th of April in the year 1998 in the Free State in a small town known as Bothaville. Now, Naledi was born to Mpho and Thapelo Nyakane, and she also had a younger brother as well as a younger sister. Naledi grew up in a very close and tight-knit family. She was described as her mother's best friend, her mother's pillar of strength. They grew to have a very, very beautiful mother and daughter relationship as Naledi progressed into her teenage years. Now, Naledi's friends described her as someone who was very loving, someone who was kind, basically a people's person. She also loved to look good. She also was very God-fearing and attended ECG, which is a church by Prophet Bushiri, and her family would oftentimes travel to Pretoria to attend the mass services. Now, Naledi attended Mamelang Secondary School, and in 2017, she then completed her high school career. Now in 2018, Naledi then enrolled at the Goldfield College, which was about an hour away from home, and due to this, her parents felt that the best thing for her to do was to rather find accommodation or a residence which would be closer to school. Now, Naledi did excellently well in her first year, and in her second year, she then met a gentleman who went by the name of Obed, who was 2 years younger than her and had just matriculated. Now, Obed attended Ikalak College, which was only 2 kilometers away from where it is that Naledi stayed. And because he was also from Valcom, he then was residing still with his parents. Now, the two had a very, very good relationship, and Obed was described as someone who constantly visited Naledi. They would spend hours in her room as well. And he was described as someone who was very shy, often would look down when spoken to, and he was also very soft-spoken and basically kept to himself. Now, Obed would oftentimes also borrow his father's bakkie, and due to this, that gave the couple, some room to just go out on dates, to go out to the movies or to the mall or to the park or whatever it is that they felt like doing that day. Now, in the second week of May in the year 2019, Obed had come to visit Naledi just like he did any other day, and Naledi noticed that he wasn't really himself. He was a bit off, and just as any concerned girlfriend would, she then decided to ask him if he was okay or what was going on. He then started accusing Naledi of cheating on him, and in later statements he then says that she did admit to cheating on him. This is alleged, obviously, and he decided to then just storm out of her room and to go home. However, the more time that he spent at home, the more upset he then became. He then contacted Naledi and alerted her that he was coming back to her residence just so that they could talk about it, and he then decided to borrow his dad's bakkie, and along with the bakkie, he then decided to take a knife from the family home. Obed then picked Naledi up and they drove to a quiet suburb. Upon arrival, he then asked her to please step out of the vehicle. Unsuspecting, she stepped out of the vehicle, and the conversation about their infidelity then began once more. Before it is that Naledi could even explain or furthermore have the conversation, Obed then started to stab Naledi in the chest. It is alleged that at some point of this altercation, Naledi was able to grab the knife from him, however at no success because he continued to stab her, which ultimately led to her death. It is alleged as well that the knife was then left in Naledi's neck. Obed then loaded Naledi's body into his father's bakkie. He then drove to the nearest petrol station where it is that he purchased a bottle of petrol, and he then after drove to an open field. Now, Naledi was known to have a tattoo similar to this one, and so Obed first started by trying to remove her tattoo. He then cut off her breasts in an attempt, just to conceal her identity, and then he set her body alight. Now, after setting her body alight, Obed then drove to Naledi's residence. He then started to question her housemates, asking if they had seen her, of which to them was pretty strange because they stated that when Naledi had left the residency, she had actually stated that she was meeting up with him. Now, Obed did admit that Naledi was indeed meeting up with him. However, at a certain point, they had parted ways. She said that she was going back to her residence and that they would meet later at her residence. And so then he said it's okay, he'll come back much later to check on her because maybe she got delayed or she was still busy with something else. Now, Naledi's parents grew a little bit worried because Naledi was described as the type of daughter who would constantly be in contact with her parents each and every single day. However, they decided to not make a big deal out of it and to basically just assume that maybe she got caught up in schoolwork or was busy with her friends, and so then should probably get back to them much later. Now, Obed made his way back to Naledi's residency, and upon arrival, he was apparently crying hysterically, asking if Naledi was back and that he was growing worried and stuff like that, which her roommates also found to be quite strange because it was still in the same day that, it was just the day. It's not like she was missing for a week or something like that. It was still in the same day, so they didn't really understand why it was that he was crying so hysterically. And he then later went home and returned yet again the next day asking about Naledi's whereabouts. Now, the following day, Naledi's father then decided to drive to Welkom just to see if he could hear anything about Naledi. Maybe she had lost her phone or something like that and was unable to contact her family. Upon arrival, though, Naledi's housemates did tell Naledi's father that they too did not know where Naledi was and that she did not come back home in the evening. And this is when a missing persons report was then opened at the police station. Now, after not being able to find Naledi throughout the course of that day, then Naledi's parents, or rather Naledi's father, decided that he would give the police Naledi's aunt's number, who stayed in Welkom as well, which was obviously much closer, that if anything in the case or if they had found her, that they should contact Naledi's aunt. Now, on the 19th of May in the year 2019, a body of a young woman was then discovered. It was completely burnt. However, the stature or the body shape as well as the height matched the description of Naledi, and that is when her parents as well as her aunt were contacted. Now, her family then made their way to the mortuary. Upon the family viewing the body, they did notice that the body was badly burnt, and obviously the family would start to look for things that it is that would set Naledi apart from any other female to try see if it is that they could identify the body. They did search for the tattoo, but they did notice that that tattoo was removed. Naledi was known to have a gold and a silver teeth, that it is that she had inserted onto her mouth as a form of fashion that people usually do put into their mouths. And they did notice that that particular body did still have those gold and silver teeth. And also Naledi's dad did say that Naledi would often send them pictures of herself, and he noticed that the nail polish that was still on the corpse's hands matched the nail polish of a photo that Naledi had recently sent the family. Now, the country was outraged by the news of Naledi's death, and Obed himself was inconsolable, just as any grieving boyfriend would be. Now, Obed's father had found small traces of blood in his bakkie. He then decided to, obviously ask his son as to does he know rather where the blood comes from, because he doesn't know where it comes from. And this is when Obed then decided to confess to his father and tell his father that he was actually the one that was responsible for murdering Naledi, and he did this because Naledi had cheated on him. Upon Obed's father hearing this news, he did something not every parent would do, and he decided to turn his son in to the police station. Now, Naledi's family, just like any other family, was obviously very outraged by this news. It is alleged that they didn't even know that she had a boyfriend to begin with. Now, Naledi's father did express disappointment, as he states that Obed's family at no point tried to contact them or, to send their condolences or even to apologize, but also states that to an extent he can understand that because no family, would know even maybe how to approach Naledi's family after their son has done such a thing. Naledi was then laid to rest, and because of Obed's confession, there was no need for it to go to trial, and so his case went to sentencing, and Obed was sentenced to 15 years behind bars with the possibility of parole. And that is the story of Naledi Lethoba, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments about the 15 years that he was given, as well as the possibility of parole. It's not really a sentence that is fitting, I guess, to a murder case. And yeah, guys, so that is the case of Naledi Lethoba. Let me know what other cases you'd like for me to cover in the comments. I'll see you next time. Stay kind. Bye.